Hello everyone, my name is Prashant and today I am going to discuss about how we can solve problems using C language. So let's get into it. So first let us know about what C language is. So C is a general purpose programming language that was developed in the early 1970s, that is 1972, by Dennis Rich at Bell Laboratories. It is a procedural language, which means that programs are structured as a series of procedures or functions. C is known for its simplicity, efficiency, and low level control over computer hardware, making it a popular choice for programmers. C is widely used in system programming, embedded systems, and scripting. So some of the features and characteristics of C language are: it is highly structured language. It uses features of high level language. It can handle bit level operations. It supports a variety of data types and a powerful set of operators. It supports dynamic memory management by using the concept of pointers. It enables the implementation of hierarchical and modular programming with the help of functions. So here we can see about the basic structure of C. So C starts with documentation section. Then the next section is link section. Then after that definition section. Then after that global declaration section. Then after that main function section. In that main function section we have two parts that are again divided, which are declaration part and execution part. So we can see that after main function there is also user defined functions. So in main function we write the basic logic or code, but after that in user defined functions we use functions that are defined by us that we can use later in the main function section. Okay, so now let us move on to the basic data types in C. Okay. So now there are a few basic data types in C. For example, there are mainly divided into two types, that is independent and derived. So fundamental data types include character, int, float, void, etc. So now let us talk about int data type. Okay, so int typically has 4 bytes in size and used to represent integers with a certain range, and it depends on machine to machine or software to software. Then we have got float. So float typically has 4 bytes in size and used to represent single precision floating point numbers. So floating point numbers has numbers after the decimal point. Then we have double. So double has typically 8 bytes in size and used to represent double precision floating point numbers. Then we have char. So char is typically 1 byte, and it is 1 byte in most machines and used to represent a single character. So then void. So void represents the absence of a type. It is not nothing, but it represents the absence of nothing. So it is commonly used to return a type for functions that do not return a value or a pointer type. So in derived data types we have array, which represents a collection of same data type. Then we have pointers. it represents a variable that stores the memory address of another variable. So now let's get to operators in C. Okay, so C has some powerful operators. So those include arithmetic operators, relational operators, logical operators, assignment operators, bitwise operators, and ternary operators. So first let us talk about arithmetic operators. So in arithmetic operators, mostly mathematical operators are used. For example, addition, it adds two operands. Subtraction, it subtracts the second operand from the first operand. Then multiplication, it multiplies two operands. Then division, it divides the first operand by the second operand. Then modulus, it retains the remainder after division. Then increment, plus plus, it increases the value of the operand by 1. Then decrement, minus minus, it decreases the value of operand by 1. Then we got relational operators. Here we have equal to, it checks if the two operands are same. Then not equal to, that is exclamation mark equal to, which checks if the operand are not equal. Then we have greater than, which checks if the first operand is greater than second. Then we have less than, which checks if the first operand is less than the second operand. Then we have greater than or equal to, it checks if the first operand is equal than or equal to or greater than the second operand. Then less than or equal to, it checks if the first operand is less than or equal to the second operand. Then we have logical operators, that is logical AND, which returns true if both operands are true. Then we have logical OR, it returns true if at least one of the operands is true. Then we have logical NOT, it negates the truth value of the operand. Then we have assignment operators. So for assignment we use equal to, which assigns a value to the variable. Then we have bitwise operators like bitwise AND, bitwise OR, bitwise XOR, bitwise NOT. Then left shift and right shift. So left shift and right shift are performed on bits, that is they shift the bits of the first operand to the left or right by the number of positions specified by the second operand. Then we have ternary operator at last, which evaluates a condition and returns one of the two expressions based on the result of the condition. So now let's move on to control structures in C. So in C programming, control structures are used to control the flow of the execution in a program. Okay, so they allow you to make decisions and repeat certain blocks of code based on specific conditions. The main control structures in C are if statement, if else statement, while loop, and for loop. So as you can see in the diagram here, for loop first test if the condition is true or not, then if it is true, then it goes to the next line. Okay, so first let us talk about if statement. So the if statement in C is a control structure that allows you to conditionally execute a block of code based on specified condition. It is one of the fundamental control structures used in programming. So the general syntax of if statement is if condition, then code to be executed if the condition is true. Now let us move on to if else statement. So the if else statement allows you to execute a block of code if a condition is true and another block of code if the condition is false. So the if consists of an initial if condition which is evaluated. If it is true, then a block of code is evaluated. If it is false, then the block of code following the else statement will be executed. So syntax is if condition and the code to be executed if condition is true, then else, then code to be executed if condition is false. This is the syntax. So now let's move on to the question given in our tech talk. So the question is, given the rating R of a person, we tell which division he belongs to. The rating range for each division are given below. division 1, 2000 greater than rating. Division 2, rating lies between 1600 and 2000. And division 3, rating is less than 1600. So now let us solve this question using C programming. So in the first one we write hash include stdio.h because we use printf, scanf and etc. So we have to link them to the stdio header file, so we can take them from the function. Then we have main function section. Okay, then we write int of rating. We write int of rating because we use a variable called rating, which is an integer, so we use it. If it is a floating point, then we have to write float of rating. So we have to then enter the rating, because we have to enter the rating and then scan that rating and provide an address to the rating, so that we can extract it whenever we want. So now we are going into control structures, that is, it checks if the condition is true or false. So for example, in this question we have to check if the rating is greater than or equal to 2000. So if it is greater than 2000, then we have to print he belongs to division 1. If it belongs to 1600 to 2000, then he belongs to division 2. If he is less than 1600, then he belongs to division 3. So now let us write code for it. Okay, so if in the brackets rating greater than 2000, we have to write printf, because we have to print that the division is 1, and I have to write /n, that is new line. I mean, it is optional now, but in future you have to use it to make code look properly. So here we write if else. So if else he lies between 1600 and 2000, we use rating greater than 6000 and we use bitwise and, because it checks if the condition is, it returns true or false based on the given condition. So if it is true, then it prints division 2. If it is false, it goes to the next line of code. So if everything is false, then it gives the next line of code, that is, it belongs to division 3, because there is no other option. So this, by closing the brackets, this completes our code. So here we can see the explanation for the code. We start by including the necessary header file stdio.h, which provides input-output functions. We declare an integer variable rating to store the user's rating. We prompt the user to enter the rating by displaying the message enter the rating. We use scanf function to read the user's input and store it in a rating variable. The %d format specifier is used to indicate that we expect an integer input. Now we use if-else statement to determine the division based on the rating entered. So as I said, if it is greater than 2000, division 1. If it lies between 1600 and 2000, then it is division 2. If it is less than 1600, then it is division 3. So that explains our code. Thank you.